But this is not a one-way street, it is a two-way street, because also Islam and the Quran and the Prophet enjoins the response from the children towards their parents. And you know the Quranic saying, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Your Lord has decreed that you worship none but Him and be kind to your parents. And you know the man who went to the Prophet and said, Prophet of Allah, I have an old mother and she wanted to perform pilgrimage, so I put her on my shoulders and I did all the ritual with her on my shoulders, and I enabled her to do pilgrimage carried on my shoulders. Can I be confident that I paid her back what I owe her? And the Prophet says, no, you haven't paid back even a single one of her labor pains during the process of birth as she gave birth to you. And I would like, on this occasion, to warn against a phenomenon that I have noticed in every country, in every culture, maybe a little bit more in the American culture. And that is the phenomenon of flocking up. As the children grow, even in Muslim homes, and I can cite a few examples, but I'll not mention them, at a certain age, a gulf exists between the parents and the children. The boy would be going out and his father or mother very amicably would say, where are you going? And all he says, I'm going out, as if it were an answer. The youngsters would like to shell themselves off from the parents. Even if you are correct and they are wrong, the Islamic clear injunction is to be nice and kind to them. You might have to swallow your arrogance, your pride, your self-confidence. But even if they are wrong, you cannot, if you are a Muslim abiding by Islam, treat them harshly. And I am sending the message to some of the youth to make the choice. Will it be God's way or your way? And I know of some who feel too shy to be nice to their parents, or too proud to be nice to their parents, and they are increasing the generation gap. But I tell you, if your parents are kafirs, kafir, it is kindly and tenderly that you should treat them if you are a Muslim. So please, when you are making the choice between what you want and what Allah wants, then you have no choice. Because the Prophet said, none of you will be a faithful until what God and His apostle wish would be His wish. Even if it is against what you feel. And I would like this generation gap in our Muslim homes and in the homes of our Muslim youth to be bridged and immediately from today, from this minute. I am glad the youth are with us today. Not only glad, I am joyous, because I think one of the things that have to be addressed in our Islamic center is that perhaps there is also a generation gap. Sunday comes and the youth are upstairs and the adults are downstairs, as if they were two nations. And I would like to make the plea to our youth group to see to it that when it is the Sunday activity at 12 o'clock or 12:15 to make it part of their youth program to come down and sit with the adults. Because you are not two groups, you are one nation. You are not too young and they are too old. You are all Muslims. And Islam doesn't put the emphasis on age, but on faith. When my teacher Hassan al-Banna visited my home decades ago, and I introduced my family, there was my father, there was my little Maher Hathout, now the big Maher Hathout, and I introduced them both. Brother Mahmoud Hathout, my father, brother Maher Hathout, my brother. It is a fraternity that joins the father and son, and the mother and daughter, and the son. Do not break the chain. Keep the links joined together. We hope the next link will be better than the previous link, but we hope the continuity remains and that they remain linked to one another. If you feel you are too little to attend the lecture, come, if only to give the congregation its fullness, representing young and old, man and woman. If only to establish this brotherhood with your son, with your father, and a motherhood with your mother. Because in Islam, there is no generation gap. You and your father are brothers. You and your mother are brothers. You are their brother in Islam. You are their sister in Islam. But all the way, even if they are wrong, even if they are kafir, you can never maintain your Islam and your harshness to your parents. So work in yourself, and if something needs to change, you have to change it. And I do not know or expect that any one of you will be wanting to change what God said or what the Prophet said. They say, and our attitude is, in spite of dignity, in spite of pride, we will have to change to comply with what God and his apostle dictated on us. And this is about the family. In our mutual dealings, it will be our responsibility to allow people to read Islam in us, because people do not read Islam in books, they read it in us. And to be the good example, in our assembly, we should be the one body, interconnected, in spite of all ages or all races. And this is the example we should give to people, because as you expect, if I were a non-Muslim American growing up in America, I assure you I would have hated Islam and the Muslims. And we have to be fair about it. Since a very early age at school, they receive negative information about Islam in the books. They grow up, and what they get from the media and the cinema and television, negative information about Islam in the media. And they look at the Muslim countries, and what they get, negative information about Islam from Muslims. So if they hate us, it is only logic, and you cannot blame them for it. Unless we, Muslims in this country, take the initiative and go to them and tell them what Islam really is, and try that our behavior would be the confirmation of what we tell them. And then and only then people, as they do right now whenever we meet them, they say, oh, this is new to us. We didn't know that. And Islam has the chance of less enemies, more friends, and inshallah more Muslims. And each one of us, in spite of the amount of knowledge